today? So, today I just wanted to do a quick little live stream about deaf obstacles in the workplace. Um, and today, regarding that, I just really wanted to speak on more of my lived experience opinion issue. If you want to consider this from more of the technical aspects, I really think you should check out the part one and part two of Breaking the Sound Barriers, which is about legal deaf obstacles and access in the working in the law. And the reason I think that would be a good one is because it sets precedent for deaf access in corporate America as well as small businesses, in my opinion. And so that one is really going to give you insights to some of the specific historical issues, along with my deaf history lesson. Those types of things will give you those sources and the specific historical and legal issues and technological things impacting deaf access and obstacles in the workplace. For this one, I really wanted to do more of like just a discussion about um, kind of like what my description says here for this video. Like, why do deaf face barriers with working? How are we fighting against those obstacles today, or specific ones? What are future obstacles I think we will experience? So yeah, and just thinking of like following up, like our last live stream was about deaf access inside of society. And in that regard, I talked about how we have different access needs and things like that. And so this live stream, I'm talking why do we have specific problems with getting accommodations at work? And then coming up, we're going to discuss solutions to the obstacles that we're discussing today as well. So today we're just going to be talking about problems, but solutions are coming too. So yeah, I'm going to roll my fucking intro and then we're going to get started. Hi, my name is Lexie, aka Deaf Child. I'm born deaf, hard of hearing. My team was one of the top teams between 2020 and 2024 in New Orleans and Louisiana. I began doing business as Deaf Child in 2013, marketing 2011, and sales 2009. I've earned 50 plus certifications in marketing and sales, and I have my Bachelor of Science from Loyola University, New Orleans, with a music industry studies major and a business administration minor. Visit my site at noladeafchild.com. So, the quick answer to all of this typically is fuck Alexander Graham Bell when it comes to why do deaf people struggle, right? But that's kind of a joke, but kind of true. You know what I'm saying? When I want to easily summarize it, but to quickly, if I want to give you the TLDR, the too long didn't read, um, fucking like, well, watch TLDRW. I don't know. But if you want to get to the quick and dirty of it, possibly, basically, it's that because of our cultural and physical genocide, in that process, deaf hearing people were doing what they could to remove deaf people from being able to work. And so all of the issues that we face, most of that comes from a history of things being put in place to make it harder for us to exist. And what we're facing today is trying to get alleviate and get hearing people to stop making it harder for us to exist. Um, so yeah, fucking. So why is it that we face barriers when it comes to working? A lot of that comes to communication. Um, a lot of deaf people, when we request specific accommodation needs, we are not granted what we need for our own accommodation because they will decide that they'll decide one accommodation is good enough for us, for example, and they will decide if they've offer that accommodation, even if that accommodation doesn't give us access because they offered something to them, then fucking we're just not grateful enough, even though we're telling you it's not that we're ungrateful, it's that we still do not have access and there's no equality or equity. And that's it in a nutshell, you know? So, for example, I've had an issue where it comes to needing time to process because I need to take notes as I'm um, understanding what is happening. Then I need to double check and confirm that the notes are accurate, and then I need to process what happened. And so I've had people deny that accommodation for me, right? And people will deny American Sign Language interpreters. Whether, because sometimes people will say if we offer you a virtual relay interpreter, then you don't need an in-person interpreter. But for some deaf blind people, that wouldn't be accessible because they still need the in-person interpreter because they can't see properly for the virtual relay, for example. Like, we could go into different examples all day, so I'm not going to keep doing that. I'm just going to tell you in a nutshell, that's my opinion when it comes to why is it that we face these barriers. It comes from a past of our genocide, and it comes in present from where we're still being denied. So how are we fighting against the specific obstacles today? We're trying to spread more awareness, and that's why we see more campaigns regarding uh, fighting for accommodations, fighting for deaf access and employment. And another thing that we face with a barrier is hearing people still trying to speak for us on deaf issues, particularly when it comes to cultural appropriation. And when sign language was banned worldwide, one of the things they did was fire all of the deaf teachers. And so since then, it's been a struggle for deaf people to have autonomy over our culture, and over the way our culture is perceived in the mainstream because of how hearing people treat us. And so that's the main, in my opinion, in regards to maintaining deaf culture. That is one of the main avenues I see people fight against the obstacle of deaf obstacles in the workplace today, is by pushing for equal access with deaf representation on deaf culture, deaf issues, American Sign Language, and from there using that platform to get the representation in the fields, um, in other fields. You know what I'm saying? So those are ways, in my opinion, that I see us fighting against these obstacles. So in the future, what I do think that we're going to experience is even more cultural appropriation, particularly like, you know, in the last live stream I was talking about in-depth access when I mentioned the concept of sign language gloves and how they're being used, and how I think eventually we could get to where you're going to be able to use sign language. You're going to be able to use the video to interpret sign language the same you can with speech to text. Well, in that process, it's going to get a lot wrong. And cultural appropriation and misinformation is going to, for deaf issues and for sign language, is going to get even worse at that time frame because it's going to get way harder to correct hearing people on our language when that happens. That's what I predict. I don't think this. Who knows that this hasn't happened yet. This might not happen, but this is what I predict based on how I see hearing people respond to deaf people when it comes to sign language at present in its relationship with social media, and where I see the technology going. That's where I see we're going to have even more obstacles for deaf when it comes to autonomy, in my opinion. Um, and I think this is going to impact us in the workplace because we're going to have more hearing people trying to weaponize this technology and these tools that are coming about to speak over deaf on deaf issues. And they're going to use these technologies and tools that don't provide proper access to claim that this is an accommodation when it actually isn't, and therefore not provide access. So these are things that I perceive coming up in the future. And so, yeah, I just kind of want to recap and reflect a little bit about what we've discussed today in conclusion. So the main theme, the topic here, of course, is, as you know, deaf obstacles inside of the workplace. And what we've really been discussing is autonomy, and how that autonomy has been impacted from a history of genocide against us. Coming up, we're going to talk about deaf access in the workplace, and in that live stream, I will tell you what's important in terms of, in my opinion, in terms of alleviating, preventing, deaf, deaf obstacles in the workplace by um, fucking providing deaf access. So yeah, that's what we're going to be discussing coming up. So thank you for this little just quick chat real quick today just about obstacles. And like basically all of my content is about obstacles that we face, and a lot of it is applied to our working issues. But I just want to take a specific moment just to kind of ramble two shakes of a lamb's tail. Because fucking, I said two shakes of a lamb's tail. Fucking captioner. Um. Anyway, I'm sorry. That distracted me. I hate when I see things that it got wrong. Like I don't even want to think about how much it gets wrong that I don't see. Like, oh god, sometimes it gets stuff wrong. It's like that's way fucked up. But yeah, because just thinking about our working scenario in general and how not only are we underemployed, and we're underrepresented in employment and in any field, and even our own representation. Um, you know what I'm saying? When you look at all of that, because we're so underrepresented in deaf issues, that's like step one, in my opinion. And that's like the biggest obstacle we have to fight before we can even go fight the other obstacles, right? And so it's like just step by step. So yeah, we're gonna talk more about this coming up. Um, Thank you for joining me today. I appreciate you. We're just reflecting, just considering. Um, and so yeah, I appreciate you. I hope you have a great day. And yeah, bye. Thanks for watching. Join the loyalty program at noladeafchild.com/loyalty and check in during live streams to get points for rewards.